Why is it that your approval rating fell so far? Because people they forget your name. They forget who you are because you don't stay in touch with them. So you already know how important it is to stay in touch because 70% of your paycheck depends on it. So let me ask you a question. Why aren't you staying in touch with your sphere of influence? I want you to think about that. Why aren't you doing it?
Welcome to the Success with Listings podcast, where we help you get success in the real estate game the easy way. Now you can get off the roller coaster of feast and famine and out of the rat race of competing with every other agent in town. Hi, I'm Knolly Williams. I took over 1,000 listings during my first 10 years in the real estate game, and in this podcast, I show you how to have success with listings. Let's go.
Now, let's get into part 4. And I know we're kind of scooting. You can kind of see why I didn't really open it up for a lot of questions on the webinar, because it's a lot of content, and I told myself I'm going to spend this time with you. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know so that for the next 10 years, 20 years, you'll be able to use this material. I've had people that have come up to me. They've been in the business, like I said, 20 years, 30 years. They've been realtors for 40 years, and they come up to me after a seminar and they say, this is the information that we wish we would have had when we first got in the business. Okay, this is life-changing. So the fourth piece that I want to jump right into is the secret lifestyle of a mega listing agent. Make no mistake about it, if you're a mega listing agent, you got a secret lifestyle. Now, are you living your life by design, or are you living by default? Because it's only one or the other. Are you living by design, or are you living by default? What I say is go ahead and live your life by design, not by default, right? Let me ask you a question. Do you want to earn $250,000 or more a year, work 20 to 30 hours a week or less, have nights and weekends off, take 4 to 5 vacations a year, and be debt-free? Well, if you focus on listings, that's the life that you can live. This is the lifestyle that I lead, and the folks that I've trained in the listing business on how to take more listings, this is what they do. And this is absolutely the life that you can have. And if you raised your hand, you said you want that, it's available to you. You can easily duplicate all of the stuff that I have in my business. You can duplicate all this in your business. Because the thing is, I teach people all the time. I'm a coach, a trainer. Here's the pre-listing video that we use. It's a great tool. My book, my pre-listing package. And one of the things that it frustrates me is that, I teach people how to do all this stuff, and they don't do it. And I just tell them, if you would do all this, you'll get the success that you want. Please do it. And so I've come up with a way where you don't have to do any of this. I've done it for you, and it won't cost you a dime. It's free. There's no cost to you. So let's look at it. What I say is don't reinvent the wheel. I've done it for you. Now this is a $9.95 value. When you think about having your own book, I said, how can I price this to where I can give people their own, basically it's a license, okay? I call it a license to steal. You're gonna get all the stuff that I use, and you're gonna be able to license it to use it in your business without any cost to you, by the way. But I said, how could I price this, to put a price on it? I said, let me make it less than 1 month of one-on-one coaching. Now, you're already aware that people pay me $1,200 to $1,500 a month to do one-on-one coaching, right? So I said, I'm gonna make this one $9.95. But since we're intro pricing it, we're gonna go ahead and make it just $5.95. Okay, $5.95 is an introductory price. And here's the question that I ask people. What if you could hire a free virtual assistant to work for you 24/7? Now, what would their job be? Their job would be generating new seller prospects, providing guidance to your existing sellers, allowing your current clients to recruit more business for you. You pay them $500 once, and they work for you for the next 20 years. Wouldn't that be a good deal? Well, the truth is you can do that. All you've got to do is essentially license all the stuff that I have. Now, if you're going to do this on your own, you can do that as well. But if you know you're not going to do it, why not pick up all my stuff at no cost to you and just snap it in? It's in Microsoft Word. It's easy to edit if you want to, or you can go right to press, just change the cover, done. So you get an 80-page guide. you get a lifetime license. So the way copyrights work, and I've been in intellectual property since my early 20s, and the way copyrights work is I'm giving you a derivative copyright license. Now the way that works is, in the US, the way copyrights work is that if you steal somebody's material, there's a fine of $150,000 fine and all that kind of stuff. But if you license their material, it's licensed. You know, it's a license to steal. You can take it and do what you want with it. So you can take the works that I've created and tweak them, do what you want with them. Even the pre-listing package is all in Microsoft Word, and I'll give you that as a bonus as well. Now the books cost less than $3 to print, right? So if you think about it, you know, one of my favorite activities when I go to a closing is I ask the seller, I say, hey, John, did I do everything that I promised I'd do to get your home sold? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Well, John, what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and give you 5 copies of my book so that you can pay it forward and give it, you know, out to anybody that you know that you come across that's thinking about selling their house. Now, 5 copies of your book's only going to cost you $15, right? And you're not going to pay for it anyway because sponsors are going to pay for them. But even if you pay for them out of pocket, $15, you think about it. If you gave John 5 of your business cards, what would happen to those? Right? Now, if you give him 5 books, those are going to go straight to his cubicle, and he's going to, people love giving out stuff, right? And they can say, this is my realtor. They'll be bragging on you, right? And I can't tell you how many people that I've helped to get listings just by having a book. People say, oh, well, he's got a book, I'm going to list with him, right? So they're $3 each to print, and the minimum run is only 50 copies. We even do 6 payments of $99 for those of you that want to do a payment plan on the license. There's a bunch of free bonuses. So free bonus number 1 is my complete pre-listing package. So that whole pre-listing package that we just went through, you're going to get all of those materials in the pre-listing package completely editable, so you can make them your own. You're also going to get bonus number 2, which is my virtual listing presentation. And now you can't pop your picture or my picture out and put your picture in. Doesn't work that way. But you're going to get the script that I use to do my video, and you'll be able to do yours word for word if you want to. Or you can take your own video footage and then just use the script that I have. That's editable as well if you want to edit that. You're going to get 14 team member job descriptions. That's free bonus number 3. And that's all the different team members that you'll have, you know, in the future and so on. You're going to get all those job descriptions as well in Microsoft Word. And you're going to get the listing manager training manual that I've used for years to train my listing managers, right? If you don't already have a listing manager, this is the manual that you're going to use to train yourself to get more, you know, take more listings. But it's completely editable. It's in Microsoft Word, so whenever you hire a listing manager, you'll have that document as well that you can just tweak, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So it really is all the tools. If you look here, it's all the tools that you need to succeed in the listing business, and it's also a lifetime license, right? It's all digital delivery. So when people ask me all the time, well, how am I going to get my stuff? Is it going to come in the mail? It doesn't come in the mail. It's going to be digitally delivered, and all that's going to be delivered to you through email. Okay, you'll get a link and so on. Now, how are you going to get it at no cost? Well, like I said, you're going to get $900 a year just by having the system, because we've designed the back cover as a template to capitalize on your book. It's a preferred vendor program. That's what's in the back cover. And when you look at it, what it is essentially you're going to have 6 vendor spots at $99 each. So you're going to have a handyman, an inspector, a house cleaner, carpet cleaner, a mover, and a painter. And those 6 vendors are going to pay you $99. And what I say is go ahead and collect that every single year. Even though you only pay one time to license the system, you're going to be able to collect $600 a year from these, from these people. Because think about it. If you go on a listing appointment, you're talking to Scott, and you say, hey, Scott, remember we talked about you got a couple of broken doorknobs, you need to get those fixed. I recommend, here's the guy that can do that for you. And then the carpets, remember we talked about getting those clean, here's my carpet cleaning service. That back room that's orange, the orange walls, we need to go ahead and get that painted as well. Here's my painter. And you need to get your house cleaned. We talked about that. So here's the person that I recommend to clean your house. So think about it. All these people get to tag along with you on every listing that you take for for 99 bucks, that's a no-brainer. I mean, for $99, I get to tag along with you. You know, I paint houses for a living, and I get to tag along with you on every listing that that you go on. I'm in. You know, what we tell people, and I have a whole system. I basically, I'll show you here. The next thing you're going to have is that you do have that lender spot. Now remember, the lender spot goes right in here, and that's $299. So that's how you're going to be able to generate $900 each and every single year, right? And you'll get 100% of your investment, plus the printing cost. So with that 900 bucks that you're getting every single year, you're going to be able to print 300 books. That's 25 books a month that you'll be able to give out at no cost to you. It doesn't cost you a dime. So it really is, guys, it's what we call a no-brainer, a no-brainer. Now, the other thing I'm going to give you is my proven call script, a follow-up email script, a vendor enrollment form, back cover template, 6 yeses, and you're done. So you're going to get all those templates where you can just copy paste. And what I like to do, if let's say, for example, I'm going after a painter, what I do is I'll just email 3 painters in the same email and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. It's a preferred vendor program. It's good for 1 year. It's 99 bucks. And the first one that emails me back that you want the slot gets it, right? And that's how you're going to get them filled up real quick, because people are like, wait a minute, I better get my form back in. You know, I give you an enrollment form that they send back to you with the payment. Real easy system. I walk you through that as well on different videos. That's real simple. You or your assistant can do it. I recommend you order yours now. There's a link below. That price is going to be going up to the $9.95. Okay, and so I recommend you get that. Okay, so that brings us to part 5, and this is the 3 what I call the secret lead sources of a mega listing agent. There really are only 3 of those. What are they? The 3 lead buckets. And if you focus on these 3 buckets, what Pedro says is all of your wildest dreams will come true. And y'all know about Pedro now. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. Napoleon Dynamite, right? Okay, so what are the 3 buckets? This is really the golden information right here, guys. So I want you to pay attention. You know, I know the webinar, this is a long webinar compared to some of the other webinars, but I really wanted to share with you guys. I'm taking of my time, and I know I'm taking of your valuable time, but I want to share with you how you're going to get all these listing leads, right? How are you going to get them? Real easy. And I'm going to give you the specific system what to do. First, you're going to go after your sphere of influence. Second is going to be your farm, and third is going to be your niche. Those are the 3 lead buckets. From those buckets, all the listing leads that you ever need will come from those. That's it. You'll never need to tap into any other buckets. And I'm going to show you that right now. Now, by the way, if you think about it, all famous people have a sphere of influence, a farm, and a niche. Your sphere of influence, because retaining a current client is more important than generating a new one. If you abandon your current clients, or your clients that you have, your competitors are waiting in line to orphan them. Did you know that? If you abandon your current clients, now many of you, if you're like many agents out there, are probably slacking in the department of taking care of your current clients. The easiest sale that you'll ever have is on someone that you've already sold. You think about it. If you go buy a pair of shoes, you meet a nice salesperson, and my wife's a good example. You know, she went to a store here in town, and she found it was a department store. She found a great salesperson, and she really likes this guy. And he sold her a pair of shoes. Now, it was real hard to get her to buy the first pair of shoes. Don't get me wrong, it was real hard, because my wife she's hard to win over. Trust me, I know. And you know, this guy did all his God bless him, he had some great sales techniques, but he was real genuine. And finally, my wife started trusting him and went ahead and bought a pair of shoes. Now, it took him like cats and dogs, night and day, whatever you say. It took him a lot to get her to make that initial decision. But what will it take for him to get her to buy a second pair of shoes? Not much. Because she already trusts him. Same thing with your clients. And even though your sellers or your past clients will only do business maybe every 6 to 9 years, it doesn't matter. They know lots and lots of people that need you, right? And if you're like most agents, you haven't stayed in touch with your sphere of influence like you should. Now, I'm going to show you why you should be doing this. 7 out of 10 sellers, according to NAR, 7 out of 10 sellers chose an agent based on a referral by a friend, neighbor, or relative, or they went ahead and used a previous agent. That means 70% of your business will originate from someone in your database. Okay? So I want you to think about this. If you're going to make $100,000 this year, how much of that $100,000 will come from this group of people? $70,000, right? So why would you neglect them? Why would you leave $70,000 on the table? Not good. Not a good decision. Now, let's look at this stat. 86% of your past clients say that they would use you again. That's according to National Association of Realtors, did a study. So that means that at the close of escrow, you have an 8.6 out of 10 star rating. 8.6 stars. That's pretty good, right? Now, fast forward about a year later, and guess what that drops to? How many people actually use the same agent again? You already know it's between 9 and 12%, okay? According to National Association of Realtors. So that means that you went from 86% approval rating down to 9 to 12%, right? Why does that happen? Why does that happen? Huh? And why is it that your approval rating fell so far? Because people they forget your name. They forget who you are because you don't stay in touch with them. So you already know how important it is to stay in touch because 70% of your paycheck depends on it. So let me ask you a question. Why aren't you staying in touch with your sphere of influence? I want you to think about that. Why aren't you doing it? Well, I think I know the answer after meeting with so many agents, coaching so many of you, and doing so many seminars in all cities across the country. What I've come to understand is that you lack an easy to implement plan. And that's what I'm going to give you right now. How do you get your sphere of influence to become raving fans, sending you business left and right? Well, you have to stay in touch with them and you have to recruit them into action. So I'm going to give you an easy 18-touch plan to do that. I call it the KISS method. Not keep it simple, stupid, but keep it simple, sweetheart. Or, my favorite, keep it super simple. I call it 2 glasses of wine simple. I just had my second glass of wine and I still understand what he's saying. That's really simple. Now, why do I have to make it that simple for you? Well, because if it's not simple, you won't do it. That's the bottom line. Same thing for me. If it's not simple, I won't do it. So the KISS method is this. A monthly e-newsletter. I use more solds. You could use any e-newsletter you want, but it's got to be set it and forget it. In other words, you set it up once and you never mess with it again, right? It just automatically goes out because I don't want you saying, well, Knolly, I'll handle that. You won't. I coach, listen, I'm your coach. You won't do it. You'll have good intentions to get it done, but next month comes and you're trying to put your newsletter together, it won't get done. Oh, I'll just catch it next month. Then that one doesn't get done, right? You need to get it off your plate and it needs to get done. We use more solds. There's expertly written articles that go out, every single month. And so that keeps you in touch with your database, but it doesn't matter what you use, but make sure it's inexpensive, affordable and automated. Okay. More Solds, you can check that out at moresolds.com. And that's $5 a month. It's actually a CRM that I created for my team, and then we made it available for others to use. Then I want you to do a quarterly mailing, a quarterly postcard. I'll give you some examples of what that looks like in a minute. And a semi-annual call. Now, when you think about the postcard, you're not going to be doing a new postcard every quarter. Like, here's my fall card, here's my winter card, here's my spring card, my summer card. No. If you have a database of 500 people, you're going to get 2,000 cards printed, and you're going to send the same card every single quarter. I'll give you some examples in a minute. The reason you're going to do it that way is because If you start getting creative and trying to do different cards at different times of the year, it won't get done. Okay? It's got to come off, really it's got to come off your plate, and you got to delegate, right? Off your plate and delegate. You know, it's been said that if you want something done right, do it yourself. But for realtors, for you, what I say is if you want something done, delegate it. Because if it's on your plate, it won't get done. That's not being critical of you. It's just to say that you're busy and you got other things to do. But this needs to get done, right? So all you're going to do is you're going to print up your postcards. If you have a database of 1,000 people, you're going to get 4,000 cards printed. If you have 500 people, you're going to get 2,000 printed. You're going to give those postcards to a neighbor friend or your daughter, your son, a college student, your admin person if you have one, your assistant. You're not going to mail them out. You're not going to put labels on them and stamps. It's not going to happen. They'll sit in a closet for 2 months, right? Because you're like, well, I'll put labels on them tomorrow. You won't do it. Delegate, right? That's $9 an hour work, 12 bucks an hour. Get it done. Have somebody do it. And then a semi-annual call. So let's say, for example, and by the way, you only need to call your top 200. Let me say it again. You only need to call your top 200. So if you've got those 200 people, you make one call a day. That's it. So I just gave you a very easy marketing plan that's actually going to cost you, and by the way, this is going to cost you about 10 bucks a month to do this. Because remember that postcard mailing? That's going to be paid for by sponsors. So you get your postcard. I don't have a sample of postcard with me. I'll show you some samples here in a minute on the next, I got some on the next screens. But you get your postcard, for example, and then on the back of your postcard, you split it into 4 sections. And you're going to get maybe a lawn service, somebody that mows yards, maybe a house cleaning company, and 2 other, maybe a couple local restaurants, and that are nearby, right, in the area. And you're going to get them to, let's say each of them pays you 50 bucks. And let's say it costs you $200 to do your mailing, printed and mailed. Then, because think about it, if you're mailing them for 50 cents each, you're doing a jumbo postcard about this size, and let's say you got 200 of them, that's going to cost you about 100 bucks. And then you're going to get them printed for about 30 bucks, right? I use gotprint.com, GOTPRINT.com. They actually do all my printing except the books. The books have to go through a different printer, but all the other printing that I do, I go to Gotprint, and they print that stuff for me. So if you were spending 130 bucks on that, and then you got 4 slots for 50 bucks, guess what? You just made $70. If you're going to 1,000 houses, you just look at what your print costs are and your mailing cost. You divide it by the number of trades that you have sponsored, promoted with, and let them pay for the cost. Because these people want to be where you are. They want to go to, if you got 1,000 past clients or 1,000 people in your database, or you got 500 or 200, they want to be in front of those 500, 200 people as well. So all of that stuff can be sponsored. You don't have to pay that stuff. You don't have to pay for that on your own. You should have that all paid for, for you. And what I like to say is all of the money that you need for your marketing and advertising exists in the pockets of your sponsors. It's out there, but you don't have to spend it. Make sense? All right, let's move on. Okay, so then, looks like we're doing good on time. So you're gonna, so here's a recap. It's a monthly e-newsletter, set it and forget it. It's a quarterly postcard. That's 4 times a year. You send them a postcard, and then you call them. You get on the phone and you call them twice a year. You think about it. If you're in touch with your sphere of influence 18 times a year, let's say, for example, you had a college roommate and you talk to that person 18 times a year, right? That's about every 3 weeks you talk to that person. Are they ever going to forget you? Never. But if you have a college roommate and you hadn't talked to them in 5, 10 years, they're not going to forget you because you're roommates, but they're not going to really, you're not going to be top of mind, right? So 18 touches is all you need. If you want to throw in for extra measure, you can do a Happy New Year card. You can even do a Christmas card But we like the New Year's card because it doesn't get lost with all the other Christmas cards. Okay, so I think you get it on your sphere of influence. That's a very easy system for you to implement. Here's a little bit more information about More Solds. You can go to moresolds.com and check that out. That's absolutely free to get it. And if you want the newsletter, it's $5 a month for that. Now, let's get into farming. Get back to geographical farming. What we like to say is grow where you're planted. Farming 101. So a farm is a territorial region that you choose in order to build your business there through consistent marketing, exposure, branding, involvement, and advertising. Now, how do you choose a farm? A farm is going to be 500 or more houses. It's going to have a steady turnover with like 7%. And what that means is that if the farm that you pick has 1,000 houses, it needs to have at least 70 sales a year to be kind of a viable farm. Now, those numbers can skew a little bit if you're going after higher price tags, because you can sell fewer homes and still kind of make your numbers, but that's a general rule. Average sale price has to be enough to support your goals, and it should be nearby. How do you go about it? Well, and this is Farming 101. So you can schedule your farming plan to walk the neighborhood at least once a month. So the fact is you can hit 50 to 100 houses on an afternoon. The kicker, though, is that you have to have a handout of value, and what we call an item of value. So that's going to be something that you put on their door of value, like a newsletter of valuable coupons, calendar of events, sports schedule, vendor trade directories, things like that. And what I like to say is those are going to be things that people won't easily throw away. The key is that you want to brand yourself. So you want to also make sure that you're branding yourself properly. So it may be hard for some of you guys, but the studies do show that when it comes to proper branding, at least 30% of your the piece that you're putting out there should have your photo and or your logo, your team name. That should be 30%. It's really non-negotiable because farming is really all about branding you. Here's some examples of some great farming pieces. Now, what I like about this one is this is a events calendar, a schedule of events, or a calendar of events. I like this because, you know, people want to know when the jazz festival's happening or when they're going to have the new, the wine tasting or the wine festival or whatever's happening in town. People want to know about that kind of stuff. Here's another piece that we used to do. How much is your home worth in today's hot market? Find out free at alloveraustin.com. That's another. Now I think we tore that site down, but all that used to be when we had that was, it was a site where people could go and get a free market analysis of their house, and they could also request a free copy of my book, right? So you might want to have a site like that as well. Farming is really about getting involved. You know, I call it running for realtor. So that looks like city council meetings, HOA, PTA, neighborhood watch. I mean, you're out there, you're involved in the neighborhood. Now, I don't want you to choose a church based on the farming opportunities. That's not what I teach. Knolly doesn't teach that. So you walk in, you got your Bible, and you walk, oh man, look at these cars up in this parking lot. Ooh, we got some Maseratis, Mercedes-Benz. Ooh, it's got some BMWs. Ooh, this the church I want to go to, right? No, that's not what I'm talking about. But everywhere that you are, right? You should kind of hang out in your farm, right? So if there's a great church in your farm, why not plug in to that great church for the right reasons, right? For the right reasons. Now, EDDM, this is going to be your new best friend. That's Every Door Direct Mail. It's available through the United States Postal Service, and it's a great way to reach out to every single home in your farm for 18.5 cents per house. So let's just round that up to 20 cents. Let's say, for example, your farm piece went out to 1,000 houses, right? At 20 cents a house. That's $200, right? That's $200. Now, let's say furthermore that it cost you $30 or $40 to print. So now you're still under $250. But for 1,000 houses, now you've got 4 people, like I said, somebody that does landscaping, and then you might have a pool cleaning service, a handyman or a house cleaner, and those 4 people pay you $75 each to tag along to 1,000 houses. How much did it now cost you to market to that 1,000 houses? It really didn't cost you any money at all, because you've got people that are paying all the money for you, all the costs for you, right? The cool thing about Every Door direct mail is that you can get everything paid for you, and it's not going to cost you a dime out of your own pocket. So EDDM, Google it, go to Every Door direct mail, Google Every Door direct mail or USPS.gov, and you'll find out more about EDDM. It's a great service that you definitely want to be involved with. So that's farming, guys. And the third bucket that we're going to talk about, the third and final bucket, let me hear a drum roll. Okay, so that third and final bucket is your niche. Your niche. What is your specialty? What is your specialty? And again, you got to have all three of these buckets rocking in order to have a rocking listing business. The question that a niche answers is, what do you offer that most other agents in the room do not, right? Or in your office? And why should a client use you versus the person sitting next to you or the other person in town that they possibly could use? Those are the two questions that a niche answers, right? Why should they use you versus someone else? Now, a niche is really your specialty, right? Now, why should you have a specialty? Well, here's what we learned from the medical industry. When we look at the medical industry, a specialist earns an average of $153,000 more than a general practitioner. General physicians have 30% more visits, and general physicians are twice as likely to work nights and weekends. Okay, so think about this for a minute. The general physician is working a whole lot more and making a whole lot less. So why is that? Because they're sought out, they're in demand, and they're relevant as far as the specialist is concerned. So think about it this way. If you go to see a cardiologist, you're going to pay more than you go to have, just a physical, for example. The cardiologist is going to work a lot less than a general practitioner, but they're going to make a lot more money, right? Because they're completely relevant to the market that they're serving, and they're in high demand. Even though, here's the truth about it, a cardiologist is completely irrelevant to 94% of America, because only 6% of Americans have heart problems. But for the 6% that do have heart problems, they absolutely need those services. Now, think about your niche as a division of your business. It doesn't have to define you, it's just a division. It's a division of your company. So what are you going to specialize in? It might be luxury property. It could be homes on one or more acres. It could be for sale by owner. It could be new construction. It could be golf course communities. It could be farm and ranch. It could be land. It could be divorce sales, expireds for sale by owners. The list goes on and on and on as to what you can specialize in. For example, I've got a friend of mine, he owns oneacreplus.com, right? So he sells homes on one or more acres. Now, that's not all he does, but for the clients that he markets to that have one or more acre, that's all he promotes is this 1 acre plus. Now, is he better at selling homes on one or more acres than you are? No, but it looks like he is. So he gets the job. He gets hired. That's how it works. Now, let's go through these 3 lead buckets again, because this is so critical, guys. This is how you're going to get those 10 listings a month. Pay attention, right? I know it's been a long call or a long webinar together, but pay attention. Your sphere of influence, your farm, and your niche. These are the 3 buckets where you're going to generate all the leads that you ever need. So how's it going to look? Here's how it works. Your sphere of influence is going to be 5 listings a month. Your farm is going to be 3 listings a month, and then your niche is going to be those 2 listings a month. So here's what I want you to pay attention to. When you think about your listing business and success, I want you to think about a tripod, like a 3-legged stool, like a tripod stool. When you stand on that stool, is it going to support you? Absolutely, it will support you because it's a perfectly balanced stool. But what would happen if you took one of the legs off of the stool? Huh? Now, what would happen if you took two of the legs off the stool, and your stool only had one leg, and you're trying to stand on top of it, right? That's the problem with most of your with your business right now. And most of you have what I call a one-legged stool. Most of those of you on this webinar right now have a one-legged stool. The only thing that you focused on is maybe your sphere of influence, but you don't have your farming going, and you don't have your niche rocking, and you're doing a lousy job taking care of your sphere of influence or staying up with them. If you will initiate the plan that I just gave you, you absolutely will get those 10 listings a month. It can't fail. It can't fail. Now, I'm going to actually share with you a lot more information on this with like how to make the calls, how to do, because we can go on and on. I could teach for 20 hours, but I really wanted to give you just the core material to really help you to take your career to that next level. So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to give you 5 chapters of my book, Success with Listings. So those of you that already have the book, Success with Listings, you can read, it's going to be chapters 6 through 10. I'm going to go ahead and give those to each of you on the webinar. If you already have the book, go ahead and read it. If you don't have it, I'm going to go ahead and send those 5 chapters to you, because that's going to talk all about lead generation, how to time block your day so that you make sure that you're doing everything that you need to be doing to do what I just shared with you, to take care of those 3 lead buckets. Don't forget, guys, all the tools that you need to succeed in this business are right here for you. Knolly I've done it for you. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I've got all the tools that you need in my complete listing system. It doesn't cost you a dime out of pocket. You're going to have your sponsors that are going to pay all the costs for you. And don't forget, so here's the book, Success with Listings. If you don't have it already, it's on Amazon. But again, I'm going to send you those 5 chapters to you at no charge, just as my gift for you to be on, being on this webinar with me today. Hope this has been very helpful. I know that if you do the things that I've shared with you on this webinar, you absolutely will not fail, and you'll be able to get your 10 listings a month. What you just got was a blueprint for success. God bless. Get out there, make it happen, and make it a great day.
Well, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Success with Listings podcast. If you are serious about taking your real estate career to the highest heights, making more money and helping more clients while working less hours and spending more time with your family, be sure to get your copy of my free book, Triple My Listing, absolutely free at successwithlistings.com. Now, you want to be sure that you subscribe to the podcast and check out successwithlistings.com to get your copy of my free book. Hey, I'll see you on the next one.